Dear students, now we are going to discuss about the lesson Indigo. Introduction. This lesson Indigo was written by Louis Fisher. He was born in Philadelphia in 1896. He served as a volunteer in the British Army between 1918 to 1920. Fisher made a career as a journalist and he wrote for the New York Times, the Saturday Review, and for European and Asian publications. This story is based on the interview taken by Louis Fisher of Mahatma Gandhi. In order to write on him, he visited him in 1942 at his ashram, Sevagram, where he was told about the Indigo movement started by Gandhiji. This story, Indigo, revolves around the struggle of Gandhi and other prominent leaders in order to safeguard sharecroppers from the atrocities of the landlords. Let us see the summary of the lesson Indigo. The author explains about his first meeting with Mahatma Gandhi. He says that he first met Gandhi in 1942 at his ashram, Sevagram. It was located in central India. Gandhi said that he would tell him about his struggle against the British, which first took place in the year of 1917. He says that in the month of December in the year 1916, Mahatma Gandhi went to attend the annual meeting of the Indian National Congress at Lucknow. There were about 2,301 representatives and visitors. Gandhi recalled that a small farmer named Rajkumar Shukla came to him who was poor and thin. He requested Gandhi to visit Champaran, a place in the foothills of the Himalaya mountain near the kingdom of Nepal. Rajkumar Shukla told Gandhi that he was a sharecropper. A sharecropper is a farmer who gives a part of the crop as a rent to the owner of that piece of land that he cultivates. He told him that because of an old agreement, many of the peasants in Champaran were sharecroppers. He had come to meet Gandhi on someone's suggestion as he was determined to find a solution for the sharecroppers who were facing sufferings due to this agreement. He required Gandhiji's help. After hearing this problem, Gandhiji told him that he had to visit Kanpur and some other parts of India due to prayer appointments. Shukla went with him everywhere. After this, Gandhi returned to his ashram near Ahmedabad. Shukla was always there with him for several weeks and begging him to fix a date to visit Champaran. As Gandhi was impressed with the determination of the peasant Rajkumar Shukla, he said that he would be visiting Kolkata after a few months and that Shukla should meet him there. On the day had been fixed. Shukla was eagerly waiting for Gandhiji. When Gandhiji got free, they both took the train to Patna. Then they went to the house of a lawyer, Rajendra Prasad, who was later became the President of India. When they reached there, he was not at home, but the servants allowed both of them to stay at the grounds because they know Shukla. They all know him because Shukla used to assist their master in helping indigo sharecroppers. They did not allow Gandhi to draw water from their well as they took him to be an untouchable and did not want to pollute the entire water source. Shukla was not able to provide adequate information to Gandhi, therefore, he decided to go to Muzaffarpur, which was on the way to Champaran, to obtain the complete information about the sharecroppers. He sent a telegram to Professor J.P. Kripalani, who was a teacher at Arts College in Muzaffarpur. Gandhi had seen him at Tahu's Shantiniketan school. Gandhi took a train to Muzaffarpur that arrived at midnight on 15th April 1917. Kripalani was already waiting there with his students. Gandhiji stayed there for 2 days at Professor Malkani's home, who was a teacher in a government school. According to Gandhi, it was a remarkable thing that a government professor was entertaining him because in those days people in small villages were afraid of supporting those who supported home rule movement. The news of Gandhi's arrival and the purpose of his mission spread through Muzaffarpur and Champaran very fast. So sharecroppers started to visit him. Muzaffarpur lawyers informed Gandhi about the whole situation as they represented various peasants in the court. They explained to him about their cases and the fee that they charged them. Gandhi scolded the lawyers for charging such a high fee from the poor sharecroppers. He decided that it was useless to go to the courts as well as judiciary was not doing anything good for the peasants. He said that as long as the peasants were suppressed and full of fear, it was useless to visit the courts. He wanted to set them free from fear. So most of the cultivable land in the Champaran district was owned by Englishmen who had divided them into various estates. The peasants were the occupants of these lands. Englishmen forced the peasants to cultivate indigo on 15% of their land and to give the crop to them as a rent. All this was done through long term agreement. While all this was going on, the landlords came to know about the chemical indigo being prepared in Germany. It was a blue colored dye made with chemicals. They started demanding money from the poor peasants in order to cancel their agreements, as they no longer required the indigo plantations. The sharecropping system was very annoying, so many of the peasants paid for the cancellation of the agreements. But as the news about synthetic indigo spread and reached the uneducated peasants, they started demanding their money back. When Gandhi arrived at Champaran, he decided to gather the facts. For this, he visited the secretary of the British Landlords Association. But the secretary did not answer him because he could not give any information to an outsider. After this, Gandhi went to the commissioner of Tirhut division because Champaran district was under Tirhut division. The commissioner not only threatened Gandhiji but also suggested him to leave the place immediately. Though Gandhi was threatened by the commissioner, he did not leave the place. He then went to Motihari, which was the capital of Champaran. He was joined by several lawyers. When they reached the station, they were welcomed by a large number of people. Then Gandhi went to a house which was later converted into his headquarters. He started his inquiry into the matter. Gandhi decided to visit nearby village when he came to know about an incident of ill treatment with a peasant. He was on his way on an elephant when the superintendent's messenger stopped him and ordered him to return back to the town. Gandhi followed him and the messenger took him back to his home. He was then served a notice which ordered him to quit his movement and return back. Gandhi received the notice and signed a receipt on which he wrote that he would not obey the order. As a result, Gandhi got summons to appear in court next day. Gandhi was not able to sleep the whole night. He telegraphed Rajendra Prasad and asked him to come to Bihar and get some powerful people along. He sent some guidelines to the ashram and also telegraphed the whole matter to the viceroy. Next morning, Motihari was full of peasants as they wanted to support Gandhi. None of them know about his works in South Africa. They only know that there was a Mahatma who wanted to help them and was in trouble due to the officials. They started gathering in front of the courthouse. This incident was their attempt of setting themselves free from the fear of British. As the crowd had gathered in front of the court building, it became difficult for the officials to control the crowd. They had to take Gandhi's help to regulate the crowd. Gandhi politely told the officials that if they would misuse their power, then there were chances that they would have to face a revolt from Indians. As the situation was getting tougher, the lawyers requested to the court to postpone the trial by some days. The authorities decided to first consult with their higher authorities. Gandhiji objected against the delay in the proceedings of the case. He read a statement in front of the court in which he accepts his fault in a very humble manner. He said that he was not a lawbreaker and did not want to go against the law, but his duty towards humanity has a greater influence on him and it forced him to do so. He refused to leave the town because he wanted to help the sharecroppers as it was his moral duty. The magistrate asked him to arrange for bail because he was going to give his judgment for after 2 hour long break. Gandhiji refused to seek bail and later on he was released without bail. When the court proceedings restarted, the judge refused to deliver any judgment for many days to come. He allowed Gandhi to remain free. Some well-known lawyers like Rajendra Prasad, Brij Kishore Babu, Maulana Marul Haq came from Bihar to help and advise Gandhi. Gandhi asked that if he was sentenced to jail, then what would be their course of action? One senior lawyer replied that they were there to help him out, and if he was sentenced to jail, then they would return back. When Gandhi came to know about their decision, he asked them to help the sharecroppers who were facing unfairness. Rajendra Prasad and other lawyers concluded that if Gandhi could go to jail for the people of their area, although he was a stranger, then they should also follow him as they had always claimed to serve the peasants and fought their legal battles too. They decided that if Gandhi went to jail, then they would follow too. On hearing this, Gandhi assured them that their struggle for Champaran's peasants had been won. After some days, the magistrate sent a letter to Gandhiji in which it was written that, as per the orders of Deputy Governor, the case against him had been taken back. It was for the first time in modern India that a peaceful protest against the government had been won. Gandhi and other lawyers carried on with an in-depth investigation into the injustice with the farmers. Statements of about 10,000 peasants were recorded and various documentary proofs were collected. The whole area vibrated with activity, the investigators and the protesting landlords. In the month of June, Gandhi was called up to be present before Deputy Governor Sir Edward Guide. Before meeting him, he met his chief supporters and made plans for civil disobedience in case he did not return. Gandhi had 4 long interviews with the Deputy Commissioner, which led to the formation of commission that inquired into a indigo sharecroppers situation. The commission had landlords, government officials, and Gandhi, who was the only spokesperson, supporters for the peasants. Gandhi remained in Champaran for 7 months. He also made several short visits later. His visit on the request of a peasant was supposed to last few days, but it took a year. The official inquiry did not favor the planters, hence they agreed to pay back to the peasants. But they questioned Gandhi regarding the amount to be repaid. The moneylenders had thought that Gandhi would ask for a full payment of the money which they had taken from the peasants, but he asked for only 50% and his decision was stable. A missionary, Reverend Hodge, who had a close watch on the matter, reported this, and the planters offered to pay only 25% as they thought it would be rejected by Gandhi, but Gandhiji immediately accepted it. Gandhi said that the amount of money was not important, but by giving money, the planters had bowed down to the peasants and had given away their honor too. The planters, who earlier behaved as if they were above the law, now had to abide by it. This made the peasants realize their rights and give them courage to fight for them. The British planters had to leave their property within the next few years. These properties were returned back to the peasants. Indigo sharecropping soon came to an end. Gandhi was not satisfied by achieving political or economic solution. He sought to remove the cultural and social backwardness of the village Champaran. Gandhi wanted to do something to remove the backwardness in the villages of Champaran. He requested teachers such as Mahadev Desai and Nari Parikh and their wives to teach the villagers. Both of them were followers of Gandhi. Many other volunteers came from Bombay and Pune to join them. Mrs. Gandhi and their youngest son Devadas arrived from the ashram for their help. Primary schools were opened in 6 villages where Kasturibai used to teach the ashram rules on cleanliness and community sanitation. The health conditions of Champaran people were very poor, so Gandhi got a doctor who offered his services free of cost for 6 months. There were only 3 medicines: castor oil, quinine, and sulfur ointment available. A patient with a coated tongue was given castor oil, a malaria patient was served a dose of quinine, and a patient with a skin disorder was given ointment and castor oil. The women of the area used to wear dirty clothes. When Gandhiji tried to know the reason through his wife, he was told that those were the only saris each of the women had. While Gandhiji was in Champaran, he kept a long distance vigil on the ashram Sevagram. He used to send the letters of orders regarding financial matters. Once he wrote to the locals that it was the time to dig new latrines as the old ones had started giving bad smell. The Champaran incident changed Gandhi's life. He said that he had done a regular thing. He had put his point across. The Britishers could not order him in his own country. The Champaran Satyagraha was not an act of opposition. It was an attempt to help out the poor and tortured peasants. This was Gandhi's way to solve issues. His politics was knitted up with the everyday problems faced by the millions of people. He did not aim at the fulfillment of ideas, rather, he was concerned for the people. The basic idea was to serve humanity and make a free Indian who could not stand for his rights. Charles Andrews, who was a pacemaker, visited Gandhi before going on a tour of duty to the Fiji Islands. Gandhi's loyal friends wanted Andrews to stay at the ashram and help them, but Gandhi refused. He said that they did not need the help of Britishers as it showed a lack of trust in their own abilities. He asked them not to seek any help from Mr. Andrews as he was an Englishman. Rajendra Prasad later on stated that Gandhi had read their thoughts and his reply served as a lesson of self sufficiency for them. Being self dependent, free, and helping the peasants, all these acts of Gandhi were interconnected. Dear students, this is the detailed summary of the lesson Indigo. I hope you all understand this lesson. Thank you.